Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and we are back with another episode of The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. We are almost done with this series, this mini-series, oops, of riding in boats, getting smugglers' caches. We've got to go, let's see, all up and down this coast, and then all up and down this section here. There was an island I wanted to go to first, though. This island. This island has a couple of points where we can take a little bit of a break and run around. This is been going on for way too long. Even if I had only done like one small bit of this, which would have taken more time if I hadn't thought my paths out correctly. We really didn't have to do as much uh, trip planning for quests. It's pretty much they've got the quests all in the same places. Um, if there are quests that we missed, it's because we missed 2 or 3 quests, which that's a real scary thought. If there's just things we never even started, like there could be a significant number of quests actually that we never even started. This bug here gets me more than any of them. Why is there just rocks? It has to be that it's supposed to be on the bottom of the ocean and somebody typed the wrong number or the engine flipped the number. We've seen that where it has tossed us up into the air. Wouldn't surprise me if it on occasion tosses some rocks up into the air. Number problems in programming are usually where the problems happen. You can have certainly colossal other mistakes, but people often do the math wrong. They forget the zero, they add the zero when they shouldn't. Uh, they can. There's in programming you can limit yourself to only positive numbers or positive and negative, and if you start adding what are called integers, which are only positive numbers, with a signed number, which is a plus or a minus number, you can on in such certain situations end up with a completely wrong number. I took a couple years of programming, but I'm certainly no expert at it. I made simple games like Pong is the most complicated game I ever made from scratch with no real assistance or following a guide. Uh, it was certainly a different time in programming back then too. We were given a book that barely knew what it was talking about, I would guess, at least by today's standards. That is probably true. We were uh, taught by a teacher who was taught very archaic early level programming, so things like assembler language might be his forte, not even the quote unquote modern language of C++, which is what we were being taught. Uh, and so he probably only spent a little bit of effort He was a good guy. I'm not saying he was lazy or anything, but he probably didn't spend years and years mastering uh, C++. He probably barely just read ahead a few chapters to what we were learning. I programmed in BASIC uh, before then, and yeah. So what's really funny is, to me, I remember in either first grade or kindergarten seeing uh, playing a very advanced computer game, like heavy graphics, and this could more than likely is just nostalgic. And then I went from this very advanced PC computer game that was running in first grade to a different schools, and their computers were actually much older and less advanced. So it's like I saw this white whale in a lot of ways of something that was really amazing, and then everything after that was not as good graphics, not as interactive for many years, maybe a decade. Then computers, I would say, it, computers really started in my mind to just get amazingly better for games as I was graduating high school. Uh, we had, well, I was heavily focused on console games too, so I could very much have just not been paying attention. But yeah, I think console games really did help. The consoles really did help the growth of computer games during that time. And now it's pretty much leaps and bounds. Who would have even thought back then that it was possible that one day we would actually uh, have graphics like this, where you look at these graphics and it is very, very close to photorealistic. It probably isn't very, very close to photorealism, actually, if we be honest about it. We will be talking about The Witcher 3's graphics in a couple of years and saying, boy, they were so old and so cartoony. But compared to games that were played on Microsoft DOS, compared to games that were played on Windows 3.1, where you're talking maybe 1 to 4 frames a second of animation, big square blocky things that are at tiny resolutions, 320 by 200 pixels, very standard. I believe that was VGA graphics, 256 colors, only 256 colors. That used to be a huge thing if you had VGA graphics. I have a lot of old games that have on the side of their box VGA graphics, and that's a selling point. At 320 by 240, it was then a big improvement from that when we went from VGA to I don't think I think we went from, I don't remember what the thing after VGA was, if it was called Super VGA or what. I don't think it was. Anyways, we went to 6 640 by 480 graphics, and then from 256 colors to 16-bit colors, which was 32,000 uh, thereabout colors, and that was supposed to be the new cool thing for a very long time. 640 by 480 was the standard resolution. Uh, Pretty much. Look at this ship. It's not the ship's not sinking. It is not sinking. That's the funny thing. It's just bugging out. I'll just sit here and we will start accelerating. I gotta leave the helm. I am actually drowning. So the boat is sinking here. This is the saddest part here. The graphics obviously have the ability, either through this bug, to sink a ship quite nicely. But this is not how they had the other ships that were stuck in spots. This is so silly. So we've lost our boat through bug. So now we've got to swim. We're gonna swim to this location. What a dumb thing to happen. Oh man, you're gonna give us bugs on top of this terrible just situation. It's not even on the map. But that boat didn't break apart and sink. That's not what happened. Nobody was attacking the boat. And the boat wasn't that damaged. It just clipped through the surface level of the water, which is going up and down. And it's supposed to go up and down with it, but instead it stayed down while the water went up and got into a loop of doing that. But yeah, so 640 by 480, 16-bit graphics was the resolution for a very, very long time. We went from 16-bit graphics to 32-bit graphics, which instead of millions of colors, it gave you billions of colors. I'm not sure we've ever gone to 64-bit graphics in the colors. Maybe we have, maybe we haven't. We may still be at 32-bit colors, but I think we have definable palettes now, so you can have billions of colors, but you can define what those colors are on the fly. So I don't know if it really works that way at all, actually. Things like that have ceased to really matter. I would like to get everything to 64-bit. 64-bit RAM means you can have more RAM. 64-bit file system means you can have bigger files. For a long time, files were stuck at 32-bit or maybe even 12-bit file systems, so you could only have 2 GB files. And in the old days, people go, why would one file be 2 GB? But with videos, each one of these videos is 5 GB long, so I would have to stop a video like very stringently at 30 minutes if I was still dealing with that limitation. So 64-bit processor, 64-bit graphics, all of those things you want means you can, everything can be bigger, everything can be cooler looking. And then after 640 by 480, there really wasn't a hugely adopted standard in resolutions. The next, in my mind at least, adopted standard is 1920 by 1080, which is a 1080p TV, and there's some monitor resolutions above that, but people have been very, very slow to replace their old monitors. So I would say there's really no standardization there. I think the real adopted standards are 1080p, which is probably what you want your even if you have a little laptop that can't do that resolution by itself, you want it to be able to plug in through HDMI, which HDMI is a great invention for video standards and audio connections. You want a little laptop to be able to plug into a TV and handle that resolution. 1080p 60 frames per second is what you would like your monitor to be able to do. There is a response rate that if you wanted a gaming monitor, you want it, it will say sometimes response rate, and the cheap ones on sale often will have a response rate of 15 nanoseconds or milliseconds. I think it's milliseconds, and you really want it to be less than 5 in its response rate. Otherwise, it's going to not be able to keep up with really fast games. And then after 1080p, we might get to 2K, but I think most people are going to forego 2K and just go straight to 4K to the resolution. And I think it will probably be a very long process to get to that. I really am not thinking that 4K adoption for TV or video games is within the next 5 years, maybe even 10. People are burned out on buying new TVs. People didn't want to buy just the new digital TVs and flat screens because there's a lot of old people out there that still have record players from the 50s, and they're like, that thing still runs, and I tell people, don't even plug that thing in. That thing's about to blow up and burn down your house. But they tend not to listen to me. Old people are set in their ways. So, but even young people, even people who are just starting their adult life, probably bought a new 1080p TV when they got their first apartment, and the last thing they want to do is go buy a 2K this year and then buy a 4K next year, and then turn around and buy yet another resolution 8K the year after that. It's too much. Fast travel over to this location and sell our things. So I think we will probably adopt 4K. We may even skip 4K as much as we skip 2K and go straight to 8K. And at 8K, from my perspective today, which very well may change, you're hitting the level that people say it's beyond what a human could see. That you're past the point where the TVs can produce any more actual viewable changes. It's a lot of that also has to do with TVs though. If a computer monitor is designed to be right in front of your face, a TV is designed to be 5 to 10 feet away from your face. So that is also part of the calculation. It might very well be that we get to a 16 or 32K monitor for a computer because we'll be really close. Or if we go to virtual reality glasses, which is a possibility, we might at that point
Looking
need
for something
higher
specific?
resolutions. And even if they don't have higher resolutions, there will
Show me
be
what you got.
more and better showings of color. Darker blacks, brighter brights, better backlights or OLED so that they each pixel produces its own light as it, which is somewhat closer to reality. Let's see. This guy doesn't have enough for that. There we go. Sold all of those things, but we're still at only. We are so overburdened with all this stuff. Need to start just getting rid of things. Like this ingots, maybe that's what I should be selling. I need to now find something that's only worth a penny. But yeah, I'm gonna bring everything down.
So long.
I'm gonna bring everything I have down to 5.
What's your step?
This is silly, and it's gonna eventually bite me in the butt. Because we're gonna end up needing more than 5 of something. Alright. So, I wanted to run around this island. Let's see. Abandoned village. Let's start here at the abandoned village. And then we'll work our way here and here and check out what these are. This is the island with the ice troll on it. And I want to see if I can find that crazy guy that we said we'd come back and try and save. Looks like that abandoned village is going to stay an abandoned village. There are several points in this on this map where it just feels like we would run into potentially the end of the game scenario sequences. But I often get those confused. I often have one fancy place might have nothing to do with it. In open worlds, it might just be there was a very good artist, level designer, that decided they were gonna make something really nice. Oh, I'm leaving snow prints. That's cool. Guess I'm going up this way. Like here's a fast travel station we never even saw. So locked. So probably some quest is gonna bring us back to this point. Oh, this could be a very high place to jump off. I don't think I'd make that though. So we want to go over somewhere over there. We're gonna have to work our way back down. Buying those maps that show us like quick fast travel locations was, I'm feeling like a big waste of money. It didn't give us all of them. That looks like a ship. Can I slide down this mountain safely? I don't think I can. Nope. Oops. That was an oops. Last thing we need to do is have problems with dying on top of everything else. All the smugglers' caches and everything we're doing. Here's some goats. I know a lot of people were really big on the virtual reality stuff, but after this E3 that just ended. But I have to say, since I didn't go to E3, since I am just a normal person who didn't go to E3, I can't help but say I don't feel it. I'm not feeling it because I'm not hearing about great experiences that make sense. I'm hearing about a few demos that are a little wonky, and that's it. I'm totally not getting this feeling. Write it down, write it down. There we go. So here's a level design that could be a nightmare. You accidentally fall into this glacier's water, and then the glaciers being solid block you from actually being able to get what you want. Look at this fog. And I think that's just an effect. I don't think that there's anything in that specific area. But there might be something in that specific area, but it might be something very deadly. Without a quest or a marker, I see little reason to go try and search it. Precious Hall. Read the note. I'm still totally of the opinion that you've got, with virtual reality, you've got a very limited styles of games. You can do horror games, you can do point and click adventure games, and you can do a Myst-like game like the original Myst, in the sense that you are in one area, then you click to walk forward, and then that takes you to the next area. But you can't do run and gun shooters. And most games, if I'm gonna generalize, most games these days are run and gun shooters. You could do visual novels, I'm sure, great. Yeah, that would probably improve the sensation of being involved in the story if you did visual novels. But high action games, puzzle games, sure, you could do some puzzle games. There's gonna be a lot of virtual reality trapped in a room games, because you're trapped in a room in reality, so that would make sense. But I think even if you have to take one step, if it is not a sitting experience, I don't think you're really going to make it. So yeah, I'm just not feeling virtual reality. I would still love an Oculus Rift, but it's way too expensive. They're all gonna be way too expensive. I would love to test it out. I think for things not game related, it might have better uses. But until the thing is super light, until it's basically sunglasses, and you can just put it on, take it off, and it's as cheap as a cheap pair of sunglasses. I'm not seeing enough adoption. I'm not seeing enough innovation with it. This is, it's not, virtual reality is not just a situation of that is moving on a monitor or a TV. It is much more like explain to somebody who's never seen a TV why it would be better than radio. I am sure there were people in the old days that said, why would you need a TV? We have a radio. Why do I need to see what those people look like? I can see that in my mind. And I really feel like that's more of how it is. You've got to explain how and why the TV is better than the radio, what it's going to offer, and they haven't done that yet. Now, from this example, I'm admitting it definitely can be better. It probably will be better, but they have to figure out how first. Let's go here. We got the two things we were looking for. This whole island too was a great example of, oh good, use the ship right now. A great example of where we should have been able to like return the entire island to people. Have after we killed the giant, we should have been able to say, okay, now this whole island is going to get repopulated. So he was right here, and he's gone. No real surprise there. Ow! Alright, so we go to the boat now. Our little distraction of this island is over. We had to load, so we lost that quick fast travel position, but that doesn't matter. Apparently the ice troll really did believe it was the end of the world and he was gonna have him build a boat and slide it down this way. I bet they were building boats there before and he was just continuing the process. Fast travel location. There's the boat. Jump in the water is easier. So much easier. Just kill him in the water. But yeah, it's totally, this entire island should have been liberated after we did this quest. This whole island should be full of people. And maybe it will be in some point in the future, but, or maybe that was part of their thought. That would at least take the concept that they are playing with here, where we find these sections, and play it on a much bigger scale than finding just an abandoned city and returning people to it. If I had this whole island full of merchants and salesmen, that would be a little helpful. Not that there's really any quests or anything, so you'd have to populate the whole island and the quest. That would be a good DLC opportunity right there. Is that this whole island will be repopulated, it will be full of new quests. This places where we barely had you do anything are now going to have you do some more things. In fact, they could just move everything ahead in time a little bit and then all of the quests could be anywhere. Maybe we'll get lucky and get most of these things done today. I don't think so. I think we'll get about half of what we have left done. This one looks like it's going to be easy. Looks like there might only be one of them. Really? Usually there's more than one. At least two. Alright, that looks like that was it. Just two. That was nice. A nice, pleasant, just jump in there and get it. Don't worry about sirens attacking you. Not a lot of floatsome there to crash into. Smuggler's cache. Come backwards through the boat. Swim down. Not even getting near me. Are they just afraid of me now? There we go. I knew they weren't just afraid of me. Gotta see him. Have to be on my radar for it to hit. Just saved in the water. Oh, that's not very good. They should not be quick saving in the water. Because if it quick saved me with like completely out of breath and I was very, very deep, then I would try and load. I would still be too deep to safely come back up to the surface, and so I would get into a death loop there with no chance of survival. Save early and save often. I do believe the game told us to do that, so, and I certainly suggest it. I have not been saving very much. It has been auto-saving and checkpointing and kind of doing both and not making a great explanation on what's an auto-save and what's a checkpoint in the how it labels the files. But making manual saves is definitely recommended. I did want to talk a little bit about Yennefer's actions. Yennefer just is desperate to find Ciri, which, okay, that there is supposed to be some desperation there. That makes sense. But she kind of just does whatever she wants, and the story plays it both ways, whether you like her or you hate her. It's being left very much up to her. But since I didn't play The Witcher, very good, come in. Wrong road. Since I didn't play The Witcher 1, and she wasn't, I think, really in The Witcher 2, I really have no idea what the canon personality for her is. She seems desperate, she seems kind of conniving, scheming. I think I'm supposed to be in love with her. I'm playing this game very much like I'm in love with her, but every now and then even he makes the statement, he's like, what is she to me? Because Geralt doesn't even seem to know. I do know that in this game we could have tried to have a romance with Triss. We could have tried to have a romance with the other witch, sorcerer. So this guy is still attacking the boat. I'm stuck on the boat. So I'm gonna... Do we see any more? Nope. But we most recently certainly saw her kill the garden and get herself in pretty much hot water with all of Skellig. Performing necromancy. So, if I didn't know the backstory, if it really felt like it was supposed to be a situation where I could equally choose any of those three romantic partners, and the story would turn out the same. It would just be you end up with this one, or you end up with that one, or you end up with this one. I probably wouldn't choose Yennefer. She hasn't, in this story, done anything to inspire or create any interest in herself. She's just obsessed with saving Ciri, which also, if I was in the real world, I would be as obsessed as her. But I know this game is probably going to end about 2 seconds after I do find Ciri. I do have XE turned on. I don't even want to pick up this stuff. Is there a fast travel location? Yeah, there's a fast travel sign right here, so we can go back and sell some more stuff. But I really feel the need to play along the storyline, and I have been playing very, very faithfully, even though I didn't know she could read my mind. Now that I know she can read my mind, it would be very, very silly to be unfaithful to her, and you would basically be
looking for something specific.
Asking for it. Okay, this merchant doesn't have any. He hasn't replenished his crowns. I'm taking all the money out of the economy of this area, of this land.
What is it?
Wouldn't mind a lookie.
So be it.
Okay. Sell that. garbage. Trinnerbog. Trinnerbog. Alright. 7 of these. There we go. It's these things that I need to get rid of. I've realized it's these little ingots. I've got so many of these ingots. And I have some ores too that can be turned into ingots, which probably means I could end up spending a lot more. And then we have a bunch of junk too.
Take care now.
Uh-huh.
Well, that's got me slightly unburdened.
May your axe never crumble.
I don't even know what kind of life would Geralt and Yennefer have. She wants to be a sorceress. She probably wants to be a queen. And probably not just a Kaer Morhen. I don't know if she wants to settle down for a simple life or anything like that. Anytime these guys start doing it, I need to do this. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I really don't care about fighting more of those guys. How do we get in? Bridge. There's people walking on the bridge. This thing is just, it's like, oh come on, let me out, let me out, let me out, no. So I've got to cross this bridge and kill all these guys. interesting. Just an entire pirate fortress. I wanna loot any of these guys. I'll take the plant. Pencil loot over there.
Come on, come closer.
And then here's the whole thing. Was this a quest? And we're... Oh, no, don't do that. There's a way down. It's gotta be. This doesn't look like a way up. Ah! That's not. So let's see if we can find a way down. Do we need any of this loot stuff? No. We don't. It's just dead bodies everywhere. This would have been a cool mission if it actually ended in something or did something. Hey! That was strange. See, stuff like that then makes me think I should be more zealous about searching if I'm gonna find diagrams for swords and such. Dog meat and raw meat and all that. I think we're gonna have to search all these bodies. Nope, not Axie. I can see a couple bad guys under the ground. Here we go. This way. Down we go.
Shit in your cat.
That one's just blocked off. Alright. Further we go. Hidden treasure. Two fast hits. Oh, it's another guy. One of those. Locked key is required. Oh, interesting. So when it says locked key is required, I bet that means there's a key somewhere.
You'll never learn.
You know what? I'm gonna try the Axie on these guys. Oh yeah. That works great. Anytime there's a shield guy, I'm just gonna start using Axie. Key to the prison. Can't loot.
Sky cells. Nice idea for a prison without bars. Shame he didn't know how to fly.
I think they did that in Game of Thrones. It's actually not that great of an idea. Take these vines, wrap them into a rope, hide the rope for several months, and you can climb down. These are the chests you really want. Right there. When you see those special chests, definitely loot those. I'm examining the body, but saying nothing. Alright, so what would be the easiest way to get back to our boat? I think swimming. Swimming or running? I think swimming. Oops. Did not mean to do that. I meant to run and jump. As far as it looks, we've got no quest or anything that really points to the reason why we would have ever been to this area. just that marker. That marker was the only thing that even brought us to this island. And that was a pretty fun diversion. Fight a lot of guys, break into a pirate prison, and get the loot. And we even found a piece of upgraded armor, which means we would have had a second reason eventually get the treasure hunt quest would have pushed us this way eventually. Alright, so we've got everything there. So if we set this way and this way and this way, and then we start working our way this direction. So we talked earlier about TV and video resolution. The thing that has failed to improve, and this is probably a good example of why there's a decent chance that virtual reality won't ever, VR headsets won't ever be adopted, is that surround sound has never been adopted as a standard. When you buy a TV today, it does not come with like a couple of extra speakers that you run around to the back. It doesn't come with a center channel. It doesn't come with anything but stereo. Stereo was the last thing to be adopted as a generally accepted standard as far as audio. Now, I prefer to go with 7.1, at the very least 5.1 for every setup. Of course, right now I'm not listening to a 5.1 setup of the Witcher 3, which, you know, that's kind of a problem, but I'm recording too, so how can I enjoy such surround sound and not have it be sound super weird to how could I do surround sound and not have it sound super weird as it's being recorded? And also super weird I don't know how we can pull that one off. Or I can pull it off. So I have to, in a sense, suffer a little bit on having lesser audio directionality. I won't even say quality because some surround sound setups and scores are not better than stereo. And let's face it, since surround sound hasn't been really adopted for gaming or TV or anything, or music, there's very little reason why I should try to record in surround sound. YouTube doesn't, at least to my knowledge, allow for any kind of multi-channel audio. I'm not even sure my recording software would allow for that. I'm sure the game does some Dolby Digital stuff to get to 5.1, maybe even 7.1. But you can certainly go beyond 7.1, 9.1, and just keep on going. Instead of add a number at the start, you can add another subwoofer, and then it would be a .2. The way it's numbered is high frequency speakers, the high and mid frequency speakers are considered a number. So 5.1 is 5 channels of right, left, center, back right, back left, and that would be 5 speakers. And then the .1 is 1 subwoofer for the entire place. But you can certainly do a .2 setup if you wanted to. It'd be a little off standard, and have like a subwoofer in the front and the back, or have a subwoofer at the right or the left. It's not really necessary, because the low frequency sounds tend to pretty much spread out in all directions a lot better than the high frequency sounds. And then 7.1 has a side right and side left, which is your extra 2. And 9.1, I think, is one of the standards, has things that are now just supposed to be in the ceiling, which gets really ridiculous. In ceiling speakers, I actually did a setup of in ceiling speakers, and I did not find good quality speakers to do that with. I had to get very off-brand speakers that didn't sound that good. Yeah. So yeah, that was a whole bunch of weirdness doing in ceiling speakers. It makes it has a very high spouse acceptance factor to do a surround sound setup and not have to have bookshelves and bookshelf speakers everywhere, and potentially hide all of the holes in the walls where if you're going to run the wiring through the walls. But the loss of quality is too high. Generally, I would say the best thing you want to do is just run your speaker cords along the trim at the baseboards of your house. Don't bother to run it through the walls, because you never know when you're gonna move, and so many people don't even care about that. So trying to do really nice looking wire management, even if you're going to take 2 speakers and say all you have to do is plug some new speakers into it, people are going to be upset about that. They're not going to want to have to deal with that stuff. Floating up and down, am I killing these things? In the house I'm in now, I ran cords for the cable and the TVs and mounted the TVs to the wall. And I don't think for a second anybody's really going to complain about that. And if they really do want to complain about it, they can put a picture over the TV mounts if they don't want their TVs there, or they could just patch the few holes that the TV mount makes, and put a cap on the place where the cords are. I found that actually quite easy, because I got lucky in my house and there wasn't any real insulation on the interior walls, which there usually isn't. So as long as you can get between 2 studs and they haven't done something really weird in the construction, you can just drop a cord from one hole down to the next hole So you can put the power plug to the TV through that, and then have the cable box and all of that handle all of that, and then just run an HDMI to the TV. So there, in theory, are no wires hanging out behind my TV that I can see. It all goes through the wall. You end up having to have some small piece of equipment, unless you are going to go with basic cable that just can wire directly into your TV. If you have any kind of cable box of any sort, you would either have to mount it behind the TV also, or have a small shelf. Haven't really got away from the shelf. In fact, heavily embraced it, because you have your consoles, you have your this and that. I'm gonna ignore that one and go to this one because I'm overburdened. So, right now I have a PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, a DVD player, a surround sound receiver, a laptop, and a computer all sitting in front of my TV, and that's not atypical. I could get rid of the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3 if I bought a new Blu-ray player that did Netflix, because I'm using the 360 for Netflix and the PlayStation 3 for Blu-ray, and I probably don't even need a Blu-ray player at this point, because I'm so busy with games I haven't actually sat down and watched any DVDs or Blu-rays in a very long time. The DVD player is just sitting there because the surround sound receiver is powering this surround sound that I barely use. The laptop is a backup computer in case my new computer was busy, or I needed something, or messed up or something. But yeah, to get back to surround sound, I really wish it was adopted as a standard. I wish it became a requirement, or just was something that people were really interested in. But people aren't. People are losing interest in watching TV and listening to music in those fashions. So, if anything, we might see the death of cable and stuff like that, broadcast television, and that eventually might lead to people just not having TVs in their houses, or having one TV instead of one in several rooms, or one in every room. I practically have one in every room. The only room I don't have one in is the bathroom, and give me time, I might do that. Speed up here. I think I've invested far too much already for my lifetime of surround sound equipment. And had arguably a pretty good addiction to buying new surround sound equipment, and trying to get every room configured that way. And it was right between the real translation of 5.1 to 7.1. So a lot of my surround sound receivers right now aren't up to snuff. So it would be a lot better if I got one that was an HDMI surround sound thing, where a lot of them aren't HDMI, so you have to connect a lot of cords, a lot more cords from and to devices. And then I had this really nice setup in one house where it was just great. And I don't know if this is just my nostalgia or what, but I'm drowning. But this one setup sounded great, just great. It's kind of funny actually. It was in my parents' house, and they went off for vacation and left us, left me, and I was over 18 and just barely over 18, maybe even under it. And so while they were gone, I set up I changed the cable provider, the dish, for a better TV setup, and set up a surround sound system while they were gone. So they came back with this home theater in the TV room, which the TV was still there and all that. But they had a much better experience, and they really didn't complain about it. Although it is really silly that anybody would let me just come in here and set up dish service, but they appreciated it. They really liked it, and I knew they would really like it. You get into some weird stuff as you get older, and you realize your parents are sometimes stuck in their ways, and I'm still having that fight, trying to get them to use Netflix and learn that, because I know they love it, but they don't want to learn it. They're old and stuck in their ways. And things change. People don't like change. I wonder what I'll be like as an old person. Will I not be willing to learn the new technology? I guess I will. I mean, you already heard me say I'm not feeling like virtual reality is gonna be a success or a thing that catches on. And so I'm already being old and stuck in my ways, I suppose. Now, I'd totally try it, and you know, my tune may very well change the second I see it for myself. That's what everybody says that has seen it, is that you can have these, they make it out like they had great experiences and they loved it, but they can't really describe the experiences. We got a lot more to go still. Let's keep on trucking. Who thought this was fun? If there was a game tester who did this and just did these missions all together and said they were fun, they need to be have a talking to him. Because I mean, maybe the game tester just did one Smuggler's Cache and they were under the impression that it's like, okay, so there's going to be one quest like this is fine. And then they took that and then they put 20 plus of them. We've done about 5 Spoils of War, and I think I would even venture to say maybe 30 Smuggler's Caches. feels like it was just hastily added. They knew the numbers they wanted to hit, and they wanted to pad out the number of undiscovered locations. So they thought, we'll just put one more or 10 more of these. I like that they're a little diversified at least. They're not all... it's not just hard-coded that every smuggler's cache has this number of barrels and this number of sirens. It's really funny how it's just pivoting on its front point. Like no boat ever would. I imagine steering a boat is pretty difficult. It's probably very difficult to control a boat. Already get the hidden treasure? I think we already did. Yep. Up to the surface we go. That was hardly anything. Is there a sign over there that would fast travel to this island? Do I really even care? Are there any more question marks there? Nope. Don't damage the boat. Maybe if we go slowly over this stuff, we won't hit things. But let me just say, if you're a kid, don't do what I did. If you are left home for a weekend, don't sign up for a new cable provider and install surround system. Honestly, what you should do as a kid, if you happen to have some part-time job and some money, is you should not tell anybody anywhere close to what you make, not give any of it to anybody. You should just hoard it, because as a new kid entering the adult world of potential bills that will come when you move out, you're gonna want every single dime. You're gonna need every single dime. So starting early while you're living with your parents and using that as getting some extra cash is great. And I will certainly admit you're gonna go and do some really silly things with that money. So try to limit yourself as much as you can. Learn some self-control here as you're doing it. Particularly for me, when I started working, that was the first time I ever had any renewable amount of cash in my pocket ever. I was never given money for lunch. I was always made a lunch, so I didn't have any cash there. I didn't ever figure out any other revenues to make income as a kid, so practically my first paycheck was the first real amount of money. I'm sure, I recall I was given like $10 cash on one birthday, and I'm sure I was given cash on some other birthdays, but having a few dollars for your birthday is hardly the same as that first check, which is going to be hundreds of dollars, even if you're barely working and just doing that. And as soon as people know you have money, they're gonna want to try and take it from you. Your friends, your family, they're gonna want to take it from you in strange ways. They may want you to take everybody out to dinner and celebrate. They may want you to go to a concert with your friends, and you pay. But it's some unnatural, just natural weirdness goes on right then, where they want to share in your good fortune, but they don't want to share in the work you're spending and the time you're spending to earn it. So hoard, just hoard. Hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of dollars. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if you can save up and scrimp $1 million. Keep it all to yourself. Even $1 million is not enough for a 18-year-old today to live the rest of their life comfortably. Well, probably is, but it would be a very simple life. But put it all in a savings account. Just the best thing to do is to actually do this, is start a Roth IRA, which is an individual retirement agreement, and Roth, ROTH. Start one of those and put every single dime you get. Well, you probably have to be paying for gas if you're going to a job and things like that. Make your own lunch. There is definitely some social stigma to making your own lunch and not going out to lunch at McDonald's or something every day that you're working. But you will make so much, you will have so much more money by not wasting it on that stuff. You can easily be losing money by the time you spend all your money at a McDonald's or a restaurant and put gas in your car. And you have to always calculate your time. It has to be worth something too. There are jobs out there. There are a lot of jobs out there that will actually lose you money in the long run. If you don't do them right. So make your lunch, put all your money into a Roth IRA. Tell everybody I'm putting everything in retirement, or I'm putting everything into my college savings things if your parents aren't gonna pay you for pay for college for you, or but don't spend it. Even if you were gonna, if at the end of the scenario you were just gonna spend all of the money foolishly, don't spend it while you're young. There's gonna be so much better stuff. If I had the money that I spent on stuff when I was a kid, if I had it now, I would have so much more better things. there's very little that I spent money on. I can really put that in the whole Xbox 360 thing. If I bought a computer and been doing a PC thing and filling up my Steam library with all the games I bought for the Xbox 360 instead, I would have 100 to 200 games on my Steam library. If not a lot more. I used to think I was getting a good deal just going to GameStop and getting a used game for $10. After seeing the Steam summer sale, that's laughable. How expensive $10 is for some of the games that I was getting at GameStop. Because if it was a $10 used copy of a game at GameStop, it was a pretty bad game that I'd play anyways. I've gotten games for 99 cents for $1.20. That's tenfold savings, and on the Steam sale. So yeah, I've gotten over 81 games or DLC from this one Steam sale. It has overflowed my cup as far as games I can play for probably the rest of this year, until the next Steam sale, which will probably give me another larger section. I may eventually have close to everything I would want that's available on Steam. And I would probably have thousands and thousands of dollars too. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say I probably would have a couple thousand extra dollars if I had not spent so much on not just Xbox 360 games, but gadgets in general. Alright, so I've got to drop things. I've got to drop things so I can run and jump. This is a bit of a problem in this game, that we have to do things like this. There we go. So we've got that. Wow, just skip the whole point. I bought too many surround amps, I bought too many TVs, I bought too many things, too many games. Bursts of generosity when I gave gifts to friends and family that turned out to not ever really be appreciated enough for me to have felt like I should have done that. Some of them were more appreciated, but a lot of them weren't. There we go. suggest to anybody new financially is save that money, get an apartment, don't buy a house. Your life is going to change. Whatever job you get that you think is your first real job, remember that it is your first real job. There's going to be a second. There's probably going to be a third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, and possibly ninth. You may go through a dozen quote-unquote real jobs before you find one that sticks. And you're never going to know that it's the one that sticks until you've got you've been in that job and been able to successfully, somewhat happily keep it for 5 to 10 years. So yeah, it's got to be over 5 years, I would say, before you know that job is really going to stay. And that doesn't even mean anything, because you may work someplace 5 years and the company these days might go out of business or might get rid of you just because you've been there too long. There is no job security in the United States at all. Don't expect it. Don't believe it's ever gonna be there. It doesn't matter if your boss is your best friend. It doesn't matter if you are a tenured professor at some university where you think you can't get fired or be pushed out of a job. It can always happen, and it probably will eventually happen. So that's where saving, have just a habit of always saving, having more. Ideally, your goal should be to have enough that at any point, if you just get tired of working jobs in general, not that you don't like the job you have, you would want to be able to say, okay, I could retire now. Doesn't matter what my age is. I could live comfortably. I could either rent an apartment or buy a house and afford those payments. I can afford whatever transportation I would need as a retired person. Ideally you want to be able to retire at as early an age as possible. And then you want to be able to live comfortably enough that you can do anything you want to. Effectively, Bill Gates is retired. Even though he works for Microsoft on their board of chairmen, and he works for the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. He is actually more effectively retired because he has money, and he goes and does the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation as because of something he believes in, or it's something Melinda believes in and he believes in Melinda. But I think he believes in it too. And his being on the board of Microsoft is more honorary than anything else. I don't think he's spending day-to-day time on that. So you want to live like him, if you can, to some extent. So we're looking for did I get them both? Was there only 2 smuggler's caches, or did I knock one out the way? where I can't see if we've done this one or not. Let's move the boat out of the way. Yep, we did it. Good. So we're gonna go to the city and see what these two locations are, and then I'm going to fast travel and sell some items off screen, and well, we're gonna end the episode, and then I will fast travel and sell some items, and we will start back from this area. Seems like one more episode should do it. We'll power through. Nobody's here. I thought somebody might be there. Let's see. Hidden treasure. Family fortune. Read the well-worn letter. Find the treasure of the shipwreck using your Witcher senses. Okay. I'll do that as soon as I destroy this monster nest. Oh, I don't have any bolts. I finally used all my bolts up. I'm gonna use all the bolts up and then make like one stack of the best bolts I can make when I need it. If I ever feel I need it. There's the bolts there for you. Burning. He makes it out like it's a real deep hole. Oh, shit. I don't understand the delay of... Oh! Wow. I didn't expect that. Did not expect that at all. I think I'm on fire. Area liberated, 170 points. Crowns. I've got an herbalist here I can talk to. And trade with.
Tell him the ice giant.
Since it's a new herbalist, we'll talk to him on screen. I've got a lot of work actually I need to do if I'm gonna try and sell everything down to the just having 5. That means I'm gonna have a lot of stuff to sell. Find the treasure using your ship. Family fortune is a quest. We actually have a quest. Amazingly enough, we're ending this episode with a quest instead of being stuck. Where'd the herbalist go? Did he just walk off? He's gone. Okay, well, that's weird. The herbalist totally just wandered off. Anyways, well, that's gonna be it for this episode. I will off-screen sell, upgrade, try to repair things, just do all of that inventory manipulation stuff that this game is really about. Half of this game is just inventory manipulation, if you haven't realized. Anyways, that's it for this episode. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment if you want to, and watch every second of my videos. All of that helps me with YouTube. If you want to support me, you can click on my name, Rydo. On the right will be a blue button that says support this channel. Click it, make a donation. If you want a friend or follow me on basically any social media site, there's a whole bunch of links down below to click on and follow me for things like Twitter, Tumblr, Google+, Steam, Battle.net, all those things. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.